Okay, so Asti. This is just the last fight versus Eon Glass. Uh, we start with um, Toasty Mittens, which is sweet. It allows you to, they changed it so you can pick the card that you exhaust at the beginning of each turn in order to gain one strength. So that's nice. We just get to exhaust a curse right off the bat. Trying to get the artifact down so that we can actually weaken. This deck is mostly ethereal cards, or it's largely ethereal cards, which is sick because we also have the new Eidolon, which goes through and plays all of the exhausted ethereal cards from your exhaust pile, which ends up being a lot if you don't play them or if they exhaust for other reasons. So here, this is the other thing. We had a Banshee form, or Banshee's Cry early on, and we're able to get Snecko form on it, which is kind of cool for a 9-cost card that slowly decreases to just automatically be 0 to 3. Sometimes it's just free, other times you play one ethereal card and it's totally playable. The other thing that we got was the apparitions at the end of Act 2. The start of Act 3, we got the cape that gives you apparitions, which turn you intangible, turns all damage into 1 point, which is pretty sweet. So that on top of multiple copies of lethality, and then pull from below ultimately is how we're doing damage here, which does a certain number of damage for each time that you've played an ethereal card this combat. So that adds up by the end. It actually got silly in some other fights. So yeah, you can see with lethality and the strength from Toasty Mittens, we're already doing 50 damage with no vulnerable, just with a defile. That's pretty sick. Let's see. So yeah, retain the Unleash just to hopefully get Asti bigger before we actually spend it. Doesn't really matter in this fight. Beating Remnant there is also saving us, which limits the amount of damage you can take to 20 per turn, which is nice. It means you can just give up on blocking one turn and probably live. I think at some point here we have to use this reanimate to not die or not be screwed. We also have Neurosurge going. I think we have a couple copies of Neurosurge here, which all of a sudden brings, the Doom timer into play. So yeah, I think we ultimately decide to just use Asti to block here. We're also using Undeath for block, which slowly creates more and more copies of itself. Once again, Toasty Mittens exhausting a curse. That's pretty sweet. Enfeebling Touch I have really liked on Asti runs. It's just great when enemies have multiple hit attacks. You can basically turn most any attack to 0 or very minimal. So let's see. We have Grave Blast here, which is also nice to be able to go back and snag one of the apparitions if we need it, or the pull from below once it is sufficiently powered up. As you can see, we already have Eon Glass pretty much down on the ropes. Right now we could pull from below is only hitting 8 times. But I think in the fight before this, I think it was hitting 56 times for like 28 apiece. So that's obviously stupid. Yeah, sick run. Trying to decide, I think, whether or not we just do the pull from below or what here. We always get a little nervous about doing Neurosurge too soon. I think what I was actually trying to do is, see, it's 18 by 9 at this point, which I think just kills. Oh, very close. So I think I think ultimately what I was trying to do here was find a way to actually get some stupid juicy number Again, exhausting accursed, and now we have 2 copies of Eidolon at this point. If you can play this, it will play. This is the best part of this, is that when you play the apparitions, they exhaust and they're still ethereal. So basically, if you play an Eidolon after you've used all of those apparitions, it will go through and play them all again. So then you'll be intangible for 5 turns or something stupid. I really like the way that they revamped the Eidolon card. It used to be completely worthless. And that's probably going to do it if we just actually play the Eidolon. There's probably a Defile in there, yeah, and voila. Pretty sick run. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the ethereal cards in general. I don't even think I used Page Storm in this. Page Storm plus ethereal cards is a super deadly combo. You basically just have a whole full hand immediately, like almost every turn. It means when you draw cards, you end up sometimes drawing like 3 cards. And like in the fight with I can't remember the name of the elites in the 3rd act, but the 3 knight guys that one of them turns all of your cards ethereal. It just means you draw to full every single hand, which is can be pretty sick. Anyways, cool run.